Okay, so now on to our featured interview this month, which is with Lukas Clasen, aka SULKA. We just released SULKA's brand new album. I can't remember what number album this is. This is like the second one that we've released, but he's released at least 2 or 3 self-released records beforehand through Gold Mold Records and through his own Negative Hope label. But this is the first studio album that the band have done with producer Chris McCrory, and it's a fantastic album. It's called Distractions. As I say, it just came out on vinyl on Lost Mpa in association with Gold Mold a couple of days ago. And yeah, we asked Lukas to tell us the story of how the band came into being and the story behind the making of this record. And here he is to tell you now.
Hello, my name's Lukas and I write music under the name SULKA. I'm currently sitting in my bedroom in my flat in Glasgow, as this is the quietest place that I can record this. Today I have been feeding 2 of my friends' cats as they've been away, and I have also been trying to catch up on as many wee admin tasks as I can, including doing this. So yeah, and I'm off work today, so I'm just trying to do as many wee bits and bobs as possible. So I got started playing music when I was in high school, and I met my friends Innes and Callum and Ian, and we had a band that was called Frank. It was named after Frank from Donnie Darko. We started out sounding kind of more punk. We covered the Misfits and the Ramones at our first gig, and gradually kind of became we indie kids as the years went by, and we sort of ended up sounding more like Bombay Bicycle Club or the Maccabees. And then after I moved to Glasgow for uni, I started another band with my friend Innes called Polar Necks, which was going for a good few years. We were kind of inspired by The Cribs and also Dinosaur Jr. and a lot of kind of 90s sort of grunge alternative rock bands. When we were doing Polar Necks, we recorded a few EPs as the full band, but I was also doing a lot of writing and recording by myself, and I recorded 2 kind of full-length albums that I called Winter Demos 1 and 2, and they kind of became the prototype for what SULKA would become after that. So if you go back and listen to them, they kind of sound like early SULKA albums. And I think the reason that I wanted to start a new project was because the songs I was writing started to feel kind of incompatible with the loud gigs that we were playing, and I just wanted to throw in wee like acoustic songs which didn't really work with the set. And I was also just wanting to explore more home recording and just kind of explore that as a new creative avenue. I was getting really into Alex G, who's a songwriter and producer from Philadelphia, and he just released loads and loads of stuff on Bandcamp, just self-recorded, and he didn't really discriminate between genres. He was just kind of like, just wrote what he wanted to write and recorded it all himself, and that really inspired me to make a project like that. Other inspirations were Sparkle Horse, a similar kind of guy that was just like very self-sufficient, and Elliott Smith as well. So that was kind of the style that I wanted to get into doing. So yeah, I started SULKA in 2017. I released my first album, which was just self-titled, through my friend Gary's label Gold Mold. And we had a little release for that in the flat that I was living in at the time. And we did some tapes and stuff. And yeah, I just sort of like tried to be as prolific as possible with that, because that was my goal. I mean, I was at uni at the time as well, so I wasn't working or anything, so I had loads of free time to just write and record. So as SULKA, I've now recorded like 5 full albums and 3 or 4 little EPs, I think.
I was sleeping in black pines. There were scary things that hide from in the early fractures of the dawn light. Strange they bury your old bones with so many things unknown, like a deep sea diver in a sinkhole, treading water in the deep cold.
My new album, Distractions, which is coming out on the 29th of September through Lost Mpa. So when this comes out, it will be out, I guess. Distractions was quite a different album from anything I'd made before. It's the first time that I've collaborated with my band on songs, and also the first time recording with a producer and not doing everything myself. So first of all, we recorded with Chris McCrory. He used to be in a band called Catholic Action, and he's done a lot of production work over the last few years with bands like Walt Disco and also Savage Mansion, who are on Lost Mpa as well, amongst others. And so he got in touch with me after the last EP that I put out, which was the Front Door EP. I think it was end of 2021. I remember he came down to the little launch that I did for that at Some Great Reward record shop, and shortly after that we kind of started talking about plans to record an album together. And then I kind of finished up writing the songs for it over that winter period, and then me and my band went for a little writing session. We went to a studio called Starla that's in Loch just south of Glasgow. So we just got a wee Airbnb there for the weekend and spent the weekend just like hashing the songs out and working out little arrangements and drum parts and keyboard parts and stuff. I wanted the album to be kind of half a collection of songs that I'd previously recorded and then half new material, just because it was the first time I was getting a chance to properly record in a studio with nice mics and have someone, you know, properly record it and mix it. So I thought there were certain songs that I just wanted to revisit, as well as recording a bunch of new songs. So that's what the album ended up being. We tracked the album in 2 different studios during the August of last year in 2022. So the bulk of it was done at Chem 19, which is in Blantyre, and lots of great bands have recorded there, like Mogwai and Twilight Sad and loads of people. But yeah, we did all of the kind of live band stuff there in Studio One and kind of captured all of the main parts of the songs live, and then did any little details and overdubs that we needed to do partly there. And then the second week we did all the vocals in Green Door Studios, which is in Finniston in the west end of Glasgow. We then mixed the album over kind of the autumn of last year, mostly just me and Chris in his little mixing studio, and had it done by Christmas last year. I found the experience of recording with a band and with a producer actually really liberating, because for one, I could really just focus on what I was doing with my guitar parts and with my vocals and just really hone in on my performance without having to think too much about the engineering and recording side of things, which often when you're trying to do that yourself, you get bogged down in little problems and it really interrupts your creative flow and your focus. So it was really good to be able to do that. And also I think working with other people, there's always the little unexpected things that happen when lots of people are pitching in on one idea. You know, everyone adds little flourishes and things that when you listen back to the recording, you can really appreciate it more, because there's all kinds of things in there that you hadn't planned for. And I think that just makes it more of an enjoyable thing to listen to.
Read the medicine right, forgetting to read the back. Bottles are stacked, you wanna relax. you catch what I throw? I wanna punish you silently, ooh yeah. I wanna punish you silently, ooh yeah.
So the first song I picked is Wild Horse, which is the second track off the album. And it's one of the singles that came out recently as well. It's quite a short, sort of loud punk rock anthemic song, which is maybe quite different from what people are used to hearing from me. It was inspired by actually Sparklehorse, who I mentioned before. He's got a song called Pig, which is like the first song off one of his albums. Can't remember what it's called. But it's like this totally different genre from what he usually does. Just kind of like really fuzzed out punk rock song on an otherwise like really mellow folky album. And I've always really liked that idea of like mad dynamic shifts going from really loud to really quiet. So that was my thinking behind that song. The lyrics are also supposed to be quite tongue-in-cheek and quite obnoxious really. So it's kind of quite character-based. It's about someone who's just kind of gone through a hard time and decided to go off the rails a little bit. So it's kind of just like quite nihilistic but quite silly and fun at the same time.
Deep down, I don't need love. I don't need love. I don't need love. Fell out of speed bump. I don't really care where I wind up. Deep down, I don't need love. I don't need love. I don't need love. Fell out of speed bump. I don't really care where I wind up. I'm a wild horse. A wild horse. A wild horse.
The next song is called Weekend, which was also a single, and this is the third track on the album, so this comes straight after Wild Horse. So kind of what I was talking about there with a shift from really loud to quite gentle and quiet quite quickly. So this one was kind of inspired by Aldous Harding, who I was really into at the time, her album Designer. So songs like The Barrel, it's kind of like these mid-tempo kind of acoustic songs. So that was kind of what I was going for. And the lyrics, I guess, the theme is kind of like a pretty standard theme of just like missing someone who used to be part of your life and maybe reflecting on how relationships can be quite fleeting sometimes and can burn quite bright and then fade away. Also, like the second verse is sort of about my relationship with music, like how you can pour your heart and soul into a project for ages, and then when you finally release it, it's like it's there in the public eye for maybe a day or two and then it's gone. So that line, "Oh light distractions, all my story is," that's what that's about. And then that's why I named the album Distractions as well, because it was just like this idea of that collection of songs just all being like little distractions.
I'm chasing dragons for my audience. That's where the money is. All light distractions, all my story is like watching a freight train video. Some days I want you to come. Be up on the weekend. How come you never hit me up no more? Have you drowned that little voice out? Have you drowned that little light out? Have you found some other light now?
Ephemeral is one of the songs on the album that is a re-recording of an old song. So this was actually on my first album, and it's a song that we ended up playing live quite a lot. So it kind of went through a bit of an evolution and it changed quite a lot over the years, and we ended up playing it quite differently from the original recordings. So I kind of wanted to capture that the way that we did it as a band at that time. So yeah, it's a nice kind of callback to the first album, which I like. And it's also kind of a similar theme to Weekend in that it's about fleeting things, like ephemeral meaning fleeting and impermanent. And yeah, it's quite an old song, but it's pretty kind of self-explanatory. It's a bit of a kind of druggy song, to be honest, but it's also about friendship and love. And I wrote it when I was like 19 or 20, so you can forgive me.
Like a god or a spirit, I ascend for a minute. There is no upper limit, and you have to capture that ephemeral calm, and you have to capture that ephemeral calm.
The last song that I picked is Wind Up, which was a single that just came out as well. So this was also a re-recording of a song that was on the Front Door EP. And I think this is the one that Chris listened to and decided he wanted to record an album with me because of this song. So it was nice that I happened to choose it to put on the album as well. The inspiration for the song, I think, was Kurt Weill, that kind of country rock style of like kind of hammer-ons on the guitar and yeah, kind of finger picking. The lyrics are kind of about reflecting on relationships and codependency in relationships and kind of going from one to another without really resolving any personal issues in between, and just kind of like using them to kind of fill a void or like kind of feeling of emptiness, which is obviously unhealthy. So it's just kind of reflecting on that. And it's called Wind Up after the last line of the song, which goes, I wind up here every single time, which is kind of about just ending up in the same place after breakups and kind of not being able to break out of that cycle. But yeah, it's kind of like a double meaning with the American expression winding up somewhere, and then like the kind of more British version of wind up meaning like winding someone up or being wound up. So yeah, being wound up by the whole situation, I guess.
Into my quiet place, feels like I'm safe. Sorrow drains, feels like I wind up here every single time. I wind up here every single time. I wind up here, I wind up here every single time. I wind up here, I wind.
Plans for the rest of the year with SULKA are obviously we're doing the album launch at the end of the month, which will have just happened, but we're going out on tour that following week, the first week of October. So we're just playing a couple of dates. We're in Newcastle on the 4th, in the Cumberland Arms. That's with a band called En Attendant Anna, who are from Paris, I think. Then we're in Oxford on the 5th at the Library. And then we're in London on the 6th at the Cavendish Arms with a guy called Samuel Nicholson. So really looking forward to that one. You can get tickets for those. You can go to my bio on Instagram and I've got all the tickets on my Linktree there. Or if you just go to linktree/sulka.music, you can find them there as well. And we've got a couple more live dates after that as well. We're in Leith Depot in Edinburgh on the 20th of October, which I'll be announcing in the next few days. And then we're playing the Great Western Fest on the 4th of November in Glasgow as well. And that's with the Lost Mpa takeover. I think it's at the Piping Centre. And then after that, we've got one more gig, which is still to be announced in December. But apart from that, I'm just going to do some recording, I think. I haven't done any recording for myself for quite a while now, so I've got another kind of album's worth of tunes. I'm quite keen to get into the studio and just start demoing myself. We just got a new practice space in town, so I'm quite keen to start using that more. So that's the plans.
Medicine rodeo, send